Yo, what's up guys? It's the Insane Game Freak here. So, today's video was supposed to be about Nintendo Online. And then I had a conversation on the phone with a friend, and now it's about difficulty in gaming because of our opposing viewpoints. So, let's just get into it. Intro start. So the discussion in question, it's weird because we've technically had a variation of this discussion before, and I didn't even initially call about it. The conversation just kind of bled into that direction for some fucking reason. She is very of the mindset that difficulty in games, that games should always include like an easy mode. There should always be an easy mode for gamers who can't play games. And the examples we were specifically talking about was things like Cuphead, things like Bloodborne, because I think those are the two games she's been playing recently, which are both known to be notoriously hard games. Or things like Dark Souls, which ironically enough, the remaster was just announced. So, and I'm of a mindset that I don't necessarily think every game needs to have a fucking easy mode to it. But I don't feel like I made my argument clear enough when we were talking. So I'm hoping this video, and just in general, I hope this video kind of explains my argument with my thing about not having an easy mode for every fucking game. Gaming, I get, and see, her argument, and I'm going to try to represent her argument as best as I can. Her argument was more along the lines of, well, it's an entertainment medium. It's nothing, there's no reason to have a game be exclusive. I mean exclusive in the sense of excluding people, not exclusive in terms of exclusive to a console. Excluding people just because it's for hard. Because for her, it feels like it's just a bunch of fucking elitian. It feels like a bunch of elitists who just don't want their game franchise to be tainted with a bunch of fucking filthy casuals. And the argument is there, well, if other people playing a game on an easier difficulty than you bothers you that much, that seems like a personal problem. Here's my argument, and here's the thing, because look, it's not like I have anything against easy mode. I mean, the reason why I got into Fire Emblem, period, this generation was because of the casual mode in Awakening. And I went on and I played Fates, and I played Echoes and shit, and even started playing the GBA games. Like, it's not like I have an inherent hatred, but I also believe that there's no reason to always include an easy mode. For example, she was explaining to me, because I haven't played Cuphead, the Cuphead's easy mode essentially takes out phases of a boss, and from what I've also found out, takes away the true ending of the game. And she's like, well, what's the problem with that? What's the point? What's the problem with taking away? For me, considering certain games now it depends on the game, obviously, but for example, for a narrative game, or for a game that has a story that's building to something, it makes no sense to make the game easier when it doesn't really make the grind to the final boss nowhere near as challenging. I understand that the wider audience appeal is better because then they get to enjoy the game, but they don't get that experience. They don't get the true raw experience of the game. Just like movies, gaming is an art form, and you can't get what the developer was trying to convey to you as the player if you cheat yourself out of the mechanics. Because easy mode essentially allows you to only know certain parts of the mechanics to get through it. You never get truly tested. You never get truly skilled. And her argument is, well, the normal mode's right there. Yeah, but the whole point of playing the easy mode is because the normal mode is too hard for you. Meaning you couldn't even do early game normal mode. Now, there is an argument against that saying, well, some people play easy mode to build into playing normal mode. But most people who play easy mode don't do that. Not saying that isn't a thing that happens. I'm saying there's a lot of people who literally will play in easy mode for the sake of just enjoying the story and shit. But gaming is not like a movie. You don't play video games just to see the story play out. If you're doing that, then why even buy the game? Just go look up videos on YouTube. It doesn't make any fucking sense to do that, especially if you know the game is known to be hard. But then the argument is, well, I wasted a certain amount of money on this game and I can't beat it. But to me, you get your own sense of reward by getting good at the game. To me, that serves just as much of a purpose as an easy mode, because getting good at the game allows you to get the full experience of the game, and you get that sense of accomplishment. Maybe that's an old school mentality, but you get that sense of accomplishment that you've learned and mastered techniques, and you can do ridiculous shit. It's half of the reason why people like it in RPGs, where you can max out your characters. And hell, I've already seen videos of people doing solo shots of super bosses with only one character in their party, because it's something you can do. Now, granted, it's also because some games are fundamentally broken. RPGs are easy to break in some cases, and some people just love to fucking do it. Some people like to push how far they can break a game. That's why people glitch hunt. For me, I don't feel like easy mode is a thing that needs to be in games. I feel like if you're being inclusive and trying to include everybody, why can't you have the opposite? Why can't you have games that only appeal to niche audiences? Why is it that I can't have a game that's hard and that's appeal to the game? How is that? And then the argument is, and the other inherent fear that a lot of people have, because the only thing I didn't care about her argument is that she essentially was generalizing all gamers who don't like easy modes in games are gamers who just do it for bragging rights. And some of these gamers don't give a fuck about bragging rights. Some of these gamers, there are some that do. Some inherently love to brag about the fact that they beat Dark Souls. But that's kind of part of the fun of the game in itself. That you can have that conversation with other people and get people to play the game just off of a competitive nature. So even a single player game like fucking, I'm trying to think, like Bloodborne. I think Dark Souls is technically single player, but I think has multiplayer aspects. I do not remember having played Dark Souls. But having that pseudo-competitive nature. I mean, hell, that happened with me and my friend Fo Jason when Catherine came out. Catherine, Atlas games are notoriously fucking hard. I have yet to beat a Shin Megami Tensei game because I buy them and I can't get through them because they're fucking hard. And that trips me out as a fan of RPGs, which is part of my issue with Persona, but that's a different story entirely. Not that Persona's too hard, mind you. We're not going to go into it. The point I'm making is that like that competitive nature in games, you can't get that in watching a movie. Gaming is like one of the only forms of entertainment you can get that kind of nature off of holding a fucking controller in your hand and controlling another goddamn character. That's the fun of the game. I feel like people feel like the argument is, oh well, you can't experience the game. Yeah, but if you're not even experiencing the core of the game correctly. Also, certain games just aren't built for easy modes. People are like, oh, well, all you had to do is make a mode where you do more damage. Yeah, but if you're dying to bosses, it doesn't have anything to do with you doing more damage. It has more to do with the fact that you're not lasting long enough against these bosses. Like for Cuphead, an example, taking out a phase doesn't mean anything if you can't learn the fucking pattern of the goddamn boss. Because that's all it boils down to. Now, some people just don't like that design and difficulty. But certain games don't really scale well in different difficulties. And use the go back to the Fire Emblem example, because to me one of the biggest things is that a lot of hardcore gamers and a lot of gamers who are fans of their difficult franchises are concerned when they throw easy modes in the games. They're primarily concerned because of what that means. Realistically and financially, it makes more sense to make blue ocean games that have a mass appeal because you have a wider audience and a wider pool of money that you can fucking get. You make a niche game, you only got that niche group, and you might get a slight expansion to that group, but it's nowhere near on the same openness of a blue ocean. The problem is when you start making a game blue ocean like Fire Emblem, like they did with Fire Emblem, where Fire Emblem went from being niche to being pretty open, you've noticed that design philosophies have to change. You can't keep doing the same kind of game and just add a fucking easy mode. You actually have to pander to that new audience, which was the whole issue with the Fire Emblem fan base in between Awakening and Fates versus like Radiant Dawn, Path of Radiance, Blazing Sword. I can't remember all the fucking. I can't remember every Fire Emblem game. Or fuck it. That's why people were so excited for Fire Emblem Echoes, even though I think that game is inherently flawed because the map design is a bunch of bullshit. Regardless if it has the old school challenge or not, that's not even my issue. My issue is that the fucking game has some really shitty design in it, but that's a completely different story. People are concerned that their franchise will become nerfed. And so the argument then becomes, do you want a franchise to go 16 years but it's like a shadow of its former self? Or do you want the franchise to go like 5 years and every game come out be a banger? But obviously the franchise couldn't continue because the series didn't sell. To me, it's all about striking a balance. But there's nothing wrong with having a game that's geared toward. Because here's the thing: you got games that are inherently geared towards children. You got games easy as fuck that like you don't have to put in any effort to play. So why is it that you can't have the opposite? Why is it you can't have tough as nails games that you have to be a pretty good skill level to get through? But you can. To me, that's not fair in general. And there's like, well, that's why you. But that's why the argument is. But an easy mode doesn't take away from that. Does the fucking... And to me, that brings up a whole nother question, because in certain games, you can't even get to the hard mode until you beat the fucking game. Right? Shouldn't that be an issue in itself? That, oh, why is it that in a game I can't pick the hard mode from the start? Granted, that's part of the reason why people... That's something I've been asking about Pokemon recently, because it's like the game is designed for children. That's cool. But I still want to play the fucking game, so give me a hard mode. It's hard. It's hard because I don't think she's wrong in the sense that there are elitists out there about hard games, or that some games should include an easy mode. But I don't think every game includes an easy mode. You know how everyone groaned when fucking Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, we found out it essentially has an easy mode in the form of Cranky Kong? Or people groaned when Mario 3D World had the white Tanuki suit for dying too many fucking times? Now, granted, it's just another feature in the game. Once again, for me, I don't care that some games have these things in them, but it does kind of devalue it when you realize there's just an easy way for you to cheese through the game, and it kills your own experience. Now, at the end of the day, it is your own experience, but those sales are what are going to dictate the next few games. You got a bunch of people who bought it on some blue ocean shit and only really stuck around because they like these casual aspects. And so the next game, unless the next game is just as casual, they automatically lose. It's like a deadlock. It's a bad position you put yourself in. That's why Fire Emblem has been trying to maintain this balance, where Awakening was damn near too fucking easy, even though it was a fun game and it had a wide market appeal. Fates went a little bit too far in wide market appeal, but tried to kind of please everybody, and did an okay job at it, all things considered. People who don't like Fates as a game are primarily talking about the story. Most people like the mechanics of Fates. They just don't care about the story and some of the characters' backstories and shit. For me, having easy modes in games is important depending on the franchise. For example, games like Donkey Kong that are like very appealing to certain demographics and are obviously supposed to be Blue Ocean games probably should have an easy mode. But games like fucking Dark Souls that obviously are games that are geared towards a particular type of play, I don't think need an easy mode. I'm not sitting there sweating. I mean, obviously I'm grown a little bit that Donkey Kong gets it, especially as someone who beat the game on normal difficulty with Donkey Kong, because that was the joy of the game. I played through that whole game. I love that game. That game is great, but it's a hard fucking game. But that was probably the enjoyment of playing the game. I feel like, I don't know. It's one of those arguments that I feel like you don't need to go out of your way to pander to everybody, because there's nothing wrong with having some sense of exclusivity in games. Nothing to make people feel bad about not being able to beat the game. It's just a simple... Some people, there are franchises that can be left alone. There are other people, there are other games in the same genre you could play. But it's like, well, I want to play that specific game. Well, you can. There's nothing stopping you from playing the game. There's nothing stopping you. You just don't want to play it on normal because you're not good at the game. And instead of just learning the mechanics and just taking a break, just pausing and taking it and just learning the mechanics, you're just like, oh, fuck it, I want an easy mode. And that to me is also another just issue of just teaching bad habits. Like that, and I get it, it's entertainment, but it sometimes will bleed over into real world where it's like, well, fuck, this shit's too hard. Well, fuck, I'm gonna just take the easy way out. And I get it, that's going into some territory, which is why I'm gonna stop the video here. I'm just saying that's kind of the conundrum with me. I don't mind that certain games have easy modes. To me though, it's not required. I feel like, especially because some games are building up in their storytelling through it. It's like, I'm playing Bayonetta 1 and 2, right? I'm trying to get to the very end to find out the secrets or to stop this bad guy. It doesn't really feel triumphant when I can take the touchscreen controls and just tap my way to victory. I don't feel like I really earned the right to be here. Granted, it's a personal feeling. I get it, but it's an experience, and it's an experience that the developer obviously wanted you to have. So why not try to take it? It's one of the reasons why I still use motion controls in certain games. Because although people will say, oh, it's better controlled in certain games, you can kind of see the direction certain games were going with those control schemes. Hence why I played Star Fox Zero with the gamepad and tried to learn the controls. I feel like that's the whole point of gaming. For you to learn the controls, for you to get good. That's gaming in general. Nowadays, you got fucking games that want to be fucking movies, which to me defeats the purpose of being a fucking game. That's not the reason why you play games. But whatever. That's just my thought process. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Life's the game. Play to win. And I'll catch you guys later. Easy or not to be easy. Or too easy. Or too hard. Let me know. And go far. Get your game on. Hey. Get your game on. Hey. Get your game on. Hey. Get your game on.